Hey everybody, it's Anthony, and if you're like me, you've been following the debate going on in Congress, the heated debate over raising the debt ceiling. You've probably been watching with some sadness, but also some amusement as the Republicans and Democrats seem to go at each other like wild dogs fighting over a zebra carcass in the wild. And you've probably wondered, why can't these people just get along and do the business that we've sent them to Washington to do? We didn't send them there to bicker and argue and do all this other stuff. We sent them to do the will of the people and to pass sensible spending and to take care of the business of the country. And I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I wanted to make a video because a lot of you have emailed me saying, look at the Republicans and what they're doing, because I used to be a Republican, or others have been saying, look at the Democrats and look at what they're doing, because they assume that since I'm libertarian, I'm going to side with the Democrats. But I've come to the conclusion that it's not a left-right issue. It's not a Democrat versus Republican or a conservative versus liberal issue. It's a money issue. See, the dirty little secret that Congress isn't telling you, and the dirty little secret that they don't want you to find out, is that they don't work for you. They don't work for you, they don't work for me, they don't even work for the country. They work for the bankers, they work for the corporations, they work for huge businesses that pad their expense accounts, fly them to island getaways, and give them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to run their campaigns. These politicians don't care about us. They don't care whether or not your 87-year-old grandmother is going to get a Social Security check this month. They don't care if you can't fly to your next business meeting and your small business is going to go under because the FAA is not funded. See, they don't care about any of that. What they care about is where their next payday is coming from, where their next check is coming from. And you can guarantee it's not from you. Your little taxes that you pay, you think you pay a lot of taxes, doesn't matter. It's a drop in the bucket to what these people make and what these people want. So instead of thinking, oh, it's the Republicans or it's the Democrats, it's both of them, because they both share the same problem, and that problem's greed. They're greedy. It's a plain and simple thing. They have no loyalty to anything but money. The only thing that drives these people is money, and how they can take it from you. Now, if you don't believe me, let's take the dollar as an example. The dollar is being devalued every day, every single day. And this is really what they're arguing about. They're arguing about the right to steal money from you by stealing the value from your currency. They're arguing about being able to print more money. And by printing more money, which isn't backed by anything, they just create value out of thin air, it steals value from the dollars that you have. For every dollar that's created by the Federal Reserve, for every dollar, and they plan on creating trillions of these dollars, right? Value is taken from the dollars you have. What's in your bank account is worth less. What's in your pocket is worth less. If they really cared about you, and they really cared about the good of the country, why would they want to steal from you? Well, of course, the answer is they wouldn't. And the truth is they don't need to. See, we could find ways to get around this debt crisis without devaluing the dollar, without raising the debt ceiling. But they don't want to do that, see, because that wouldn't give their corporate overlords, and that wouldn't give their campaign financiers and the real political string pullers the power and the money that they want. It wouldn't meet their agenda. Who cares about your agenda? Who cares about your needs? Who cares about your small business? Who cares about, your grandmother or your disability check? It doesn't matter. It's the corporate overlords and the bankers that matter to them. And so I'd like to encourage you to call your senator, wherever you are. Call your senator, call your representative, and tell them, do not allow the debt ceiling to be raised. It's not about compromise. That's the game and the lie that they're telling you. It's about compromise. We have to compromise. We don't. It's not about compromise, because any compromise that raises the debt ceiling is going to make the American people lose value. Your dollar will be worth less, and your paycheck won't stretch as far. The things you need to buy will cost more. That's not a compromise. That's a compromise between the bankers and the politicians, but it sure screws you, doesn't it? And so the only sensible way to do things is to cut the programs that we don't need. Cut some of the spending, the needless spending. Stop paying federal contractors triple time and a half. just because they can get it from the government. Stop funding some of these ridiculous programs. Cut spending, live within your means, just like we have to do whenever we run out of money. I don't get to just call my credit card company and say, hey, up the limit, and they do it just no matter how bad I've handled my money. At some point, the credit card company, and in this case we are the credit card company, the people, have to say no. We have to say we're not giving you more of a credit limit because you're being irresponsible. You're screwing up the economy. You're killing our dollar. You're killing our country. You're stealing value from me. And we have to say no. And we have to say enough is enough and force them to live within their means. Now's the time to do that. So call your congressman, urge them not to support a compromise of any kind, but just vote straight out no on increasing the debt ceiling. Tell them to force the government to live within their means. Don't increase the debt ceiling. Force the government to make real cuts, not these piddly cuts of $115 million over 10 years and things like that. Real cuts. The deficit is well over $15 trillion, and it's going to get bigger. $115 million, $30 billion, or $10 billion, $30 billion doesn't mean crap. It's a drop in the bucket. Doesn't even start to pay on the interest that we owe on the debt. Force them to make real cuts and live within their means. That's the only answer. It's not about raising the debt ceiling. It's not about compromise. It's about stopping the outright theft from your bank account. And don't let them use the fear tactics of, oh, you won't get a Social Security check, or oh, you won't get a disability check. That's a lie. They're going to find a way to get you your check. In fact, from the research that I've done, those checks don't even come from the same fund or are funded the same way that the debt ceiling is, or that the debt is. So it's a lie they're using to try to frighten you into forcing you to give them what they want. Don't buy into it. Force them to live within their means. Force accountable government. Because only you can do it. They're not going to be accountable. They have no reason to be accountable because they know that if they screw the economy up, they'll just blame the other guy and then you'll reelect them so they can try to fix it, and they're not going to fix it. No real change ever comes. It's just more and more spending, more and more taxes, more and more screwing up the economy, stealing value from the currency, and nothing really ever changes. You have a chance right now to force your congressman to make a change. Don't mess it up. Don't miss it, because this may be your only chance. Have a great day.